Hello? Ow. That hurts my throat. Oh. Well, let's turn off that guitar. It's off. The guitar's off now. Let's turn off the shot with my guitar. Wait a second. It'll do it. It'll do it. I can do it. Watch. I can do it. Let's do that. Almost. Not quite. There, that's what I'm looking for. There you go. Hi, guys. This is Mark Black. You're at Mark Teaches Music. This is the To Play and Sing live stream. Hey, Jeffrey. How you doing, man? Hope you're not sick. I am sick. I've been sick for 3 weeks, at least, since before Thanksgiving. I feel terrible. However, the music is still here, and I can still answer questions. So, To Play and Sing is our live Q&A. Ask all your questions about everything on the planet, and I will do my best to answer that. I know the answers to a lot of things. I don't know the answers to a bunch of things, too. Also, I don't know a lot of trivia. I don't know, I know general things about, like, what kind of reeds should you get or strings should you get, not, like Eric Johnson, where I'm like, oh, you need to get ever ready as opposed to Duracell batteries for your, so not that, I don't even care about that. But all I'm getting at is that, so a lot of things that you would know, and mostly focused on learning and getting better and things like that. And again, doesn't mean I'm right. And also, I will do my best to just say I don't know, if I don't know. But this is the 21st day of December, and this is the last. Oh, good. Jeffrey's not sick. Yay. So this is the last To Play and Sing before 2022. We will not have one next week. And I'll put up a little notice so you can make your plans to be there in 2 weeks, which I guess is in the first week of January. But it seems like it would be. And it really hurts to swallow. Ow. That hurts. Let's see. I got... what else do I need to say? I need to say that... well, let's see. I need to say that... yeah. So, performing, so many great things that can be told us to help us through the problems that we have, practical problems about our instruments or about our attitudes, good attitude, trying to have a good attitude, getting knocked down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. Being like that's hard to do, but that's what we need to do, because music is a big conundrum for some of us, and especially since what we all tend to do is escalate our expectations. You're a little dummy at 11 or something, and so you kind of get to whatever first chair, or you get to I can play this little dinky solo, and then you up your expectations, and so now you want to play this guy's solo, and now you want to play this set of chords, and so sometimes it's hard to see where we are, and it's helpful to have people with you there. So anyway, my point here is that it's really funny watching the live stream versus this is the actual what's going out, and then this is it about 3 seconds later. So it's almost like I can unsay what I said, but I cannot. So I want you to jump right in and send me questions. Just put them in the chat. Again, this is my evil. I don't like the word chat, but anyway, put it in the chat, and I will chat with thee. We shall chat back and forth, the two in sweet harmony, and about being in ensembles and choirs and bands and things like that, orchestras. And if you're interested in lessons, go to www.dallasmusiclessons.com, and you can have any questions after this live stream is over. Send me an email at mark@dallasmusiclessons.com, and I will try to answer your question. And remember now, bunch of things I don't know, and sometimes I'd have to say, well, I just don't know. I could say, I don't know, here's what I think, and maybe go here or something like that. It depends on the question. So again, if you like this, what you're supposed to do is slip my funding for my site into the omnibus bill that's going through right now, and have Congress vote $20-30 million for my site, It'll never be noticed because there's 7,500 earmarks in that bill. So just slip another one more would be my site in there. And so hit subscribe, hit notifications, share these videos, and seriously, man, it's a lot of fun. Music is a lot of fun, a good thing to do. So here we go. We jump right in. And I'm going to cough. I'm so sorry. Yeah, you have a cough button. Watch, I got this cough button. Look. Yeah, I need to use it. Okay, I'll use it next time. Y'all notice that I look, with my beard this long, I look like Mel Gibson, I think. Yeah, that's what I think. Okay. All right, so here's our first question for the day. And the first question is it better to read notes or hear chords and notes? Basically playing by notes or playing by ear. And that is A, not a trick question, and B, not, my answer is going to be vague, but it is very specific from my standpoint. I can do both things, and all of you actually listening to the sound of my voice can do both things. You can play by ear and you can play by notes. And those of you who feel very reliant upon note reading, you'll notice that when you catch a mistake in your own playing or in my playing or somebody else's playing, it's not because somebody steps up and says, that was an F sharp instead of an F. It's because your ear says, there's something wrong with that. That was not correct. So your ear works on the most hardcore classical player who just wouldn't even, it's beyond his comprehension that Bach, which he did, improvised, and Liszt and Chopin, that they were amazing improvisers. So what I'm saying is that music, of the ear part of music, is undeniable, unhideable. And you got it. We've all got it. And then the other part, the reading notes part, is a function of. So everybody has the ear part. Now, it doesn't mean it's developed. Doesn't mean you can use it. It just means that you know when you play a wrong note. So it's like Rain Man going, wrong. That's wrong. You're wrong. But it doesn't tell you what to do unless you train it. If you train your ear will tell you what to do. That was a minor third, and that should have been a major third, like that. Really encourage you to just pick up that other tool, humongous, gigantic tool of your ear, using it for your ear. So the other thing about reading notes, I'm sorry, pretend I pushed that button, is a function of how you play music. And if you play, it's not classical music, obviously, and I'm not trying to sound either stuck up or you think, well, nobody does that, but like you're a studio musician, a studio musician in Los Angeles, New York, Nashville, where they're going, okay, this guy's doing a metal album, and here it is, and then the next day it's like, this guy's doing a country album, and so your only way you're getting through it, one time guy just hands you a tape, next time the guy gets you parts all written out. You're doing movie music, you're doing TV music, you're in an orchestra. How are you going to get through that tremendous level of, and think about this, you guys who don't read or don't read much, think about this, how are you going to get through that tremendous level of detail? Just so much detail. Every 16th notes, 500 16th notes defined. You just listen to it. No, you're not going to be able to do that. And you'll notice that as the music gets harder, I'm talking about all music, that the people tend to get more towards reading notes. Now, the exception for that would be, it's not bluegrass or country music per se, but it's like ad-libbing. I'm ad-libbing, making stuff up. My gosh, it's so complicated. It's all in my head. It's all in my head. It's all in my head. It's all in my head what I want to play. So it can be pretty complicated, very complicated, without it being written, because I know what I want to play. But I'm saying that would be an exception. Like, here these guys, wow, they really play complicated music, but they created the music. So that would kind of step out of our who needs to read music well. So if you don't read music well, you do not need to read music well unless you're going to get into these worlds in which I'm going to regularly show up and hand you a piece of paper and say, he's playing this part, and he's playing this part, and he's playing this part, and you need to play this part. and you don't have any choices, and I don't have a tape for you, because once we play number one, then we're going to play number two, and then after we play number six, we're going to play number eight. Just songs like this. Nobody's thinking about you poor old thing. You can't read music. They're just thinking, let's play through this thing here. It's a 5-part thing. It's for oboe, clarinet. That's so beautiful. Woodwind quintets, oboe, clarinet, French horn, bassoon. Who am I leaving out? Somebody want to tell me what the fifth one in the woodwind quintet? It's slipping my mind right now. Flute, of course. So what beautiful music can be. So anyway, it was like, and then when we finish that one, we're going to do another one, and it's beautiful. And absolutely no time for you to just go off into a corner and listen to your part. You're going to have to read music. And I want you to see that not as those are the real musicians. No. Peter Thiele, for example, a mandolin player, stunning mandolin player, and he probably reads some. I would assume he reads some, but doesn't read a lot. That would be my guess. I don't know. But it's as hard and fast as anything you ever heard in any classical piece. He's creating it. So I'm just saying, here's amazing, functionally slap your mama in the face music, but it's done by ear. But again, here's my point. Why would you need to read music well? Because you're going to be frequently confronted with music that you don't know how it goes, and the people that are giving you the music are expecting you to do it well. Rather than you're sitting around with your band and you're saying, hey, I heard this new song by, I'm going to say Maroon 5. I'll just say Maroon. I heard this new song by Maroon 5, and let's do it next week. And so everybody listens to it on their own, and they go to ultimateguitar.com and they download a part, and so they're kind of ready to do it sort of in a moderately accurate way, and that's probably very good. If they're a good band, it'd probably be a good thing to do. In that kind of song, which is a great song, it could be like Sugar, Sugar, yes please. So it could be a very great song without the demand of super mega precision than a lot of written notes things. So the question, which is better, reading notes or hearing chords and notes well? So what you need to look at is three-stranded chords not easily broken. So you've got your ear, you use your ear. You've got your hands, or your vocalist, you got the vocal mechanism, and your practice, and this is skillful. And then you've got reading notes or understanding music. I understand songs in A flat. I understand what the chords are in A flat. I know what my solo would be in A flat. I know what Lydian mode in A flat would be. I don't necessarily know the notes. I may know the notes, but I can. In other words, I'm functional. And you imagine your head split in half. So your right brain is your colors and sounds and saying that's a beautiful chord and I love that. And your left brain is your math brain. And so various people, everybody who's listening to me here right now today, basically some of you are leaning towards, just fine, your right brain, your beautiful, colorful, artistic conception of songs. And some of you are leaning towards your left brain, your mathematical precise, I figured it out. It's, come in on the second 16th note of the third measure. And somebody else will do exactly the same, just as good as you, and they're just going, they're doing it by feel, by hearing. And then both of us kinds of musicians have in common skill. So we have skill, we have ear, we have mind. And if we want to be the best we can be, we put those all together. And just let me say, I'm telling you, you dummies who can't hear worth crap are coming to me all the time in lessons and like, I can't hear that. How can you hear that? It's such a good ear. They won't spend any time developing their ear. So look, you want to develop your ear, you need to be able to just go to musictheory.net on the net and go to exercises, and then they have chords and they have intervals. You do not, unless you really don't get trapped in all kind of intervals, just do half steps and whole steps, and then go over to chords, and they do major and minor chords, and it'll play a random major chord and a random minor chord. and you say it's a minor and you're wrong. It goes, it doesn't, and you play it 2-3 times, so you get to where you can hear major minor chords. Then you add dominant 7 chords. You get to where you hear major minor dominant 7. So those of you without an ear, which is no one, but you are effectively not hearing, and that could be one of the greatest classical players. Probably not, because as somebody starts getting really good in classical music, they start noticing, and hopefully they're around teachers and people who pull their ear up with them. But you can be. So do not be that person who can read like a big dog, but don't hear nothing. Don't do that. And then conversely, you hear well and you just want to play. You want to play, country songs, or you want to play James Taylor, or you want to play. I don't even know who that is, but na 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 na. Come just a little bit closer, no, I'm a man, so big and so strong. I don't know who that is. That is a great song in that movie, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I think it is, or the 1 or 2, whatever it is. Anyway, it's so crazy. Such a great placement of music, just absolutely crazy. So you guys, you like that kind of stuff? Like, wow, that's amazing, and I love all that. And so you have a good ear, and you can hear this is wrong, this is right. We want to activate your brain. We want to activate the left side of your brain that's mathematical and say, this is in so-and-so key, and I can use these chords. And listen, that's not, your ear's going, that's not a minor chord. That's got some other note. And then your brain goes, well, what is this? Is that the 2? Is that a minor 2? Is it a minor 7? And you, with the marriage of your ear and your brain, you get a wonderful set of accomplishment. That's what you need to do. Okay. Next question is, we'll come to that question in a minute. What about switching between my instruments? Do I need to do that? How often do I need to do that? Switching between my instruments. Now, when this person asked me this question, what they were talking about was, that hurts. Sorry, I coughed. I'm going to forget about it until it's over. So sorry about coughing. It was loud. They were talking about, they had 2 good instruments, the same kind of instrument, and of course each instrument's a little slightly different characteristic, and asking me how should they switch between them, if they should switch between them. And so first off, in that kind of a situation where you're not really talking about the alto saxophone and the tenor saxophone, or the alto saxophone and the flute, or the alto saxophone and the harmonica, big changes. You're just talking about little changes, and just as in different instruments. You have to decide. You do not have to stretch yourself unless you feel like, which people ask me, how many instruments do you play? And my answer is too many. I play too many instruments, and so I'm not trying to get you to have my problem of having too many instruments, but if you have several instruments that you play, the only way you're going to sound good on them is if you play good. Now, remember we talked about the naturals, or the organics, and people who are, a lot of them are just super wonderful and humble and all this kind of great stuff. So doesn't mean they're arrogant. It just means that they're playing stuff and singing stuff and doing stuff almost without trying, and almost especially without knowing why. They just do it. It just seems natural for different reasons. So I call them the organics. So if you're one of the organics, you will be switching between your instruments naturally, more or less, just kind of like, hey, there's one. I haven't played you in a while. Come here, buddy. And you'll play on that. But for most people, if you're going to be good, this is the answer. If you're going to be good on an instrument, you got to play on it some. So if you had 2 guitars, let's just say there were 2 electrics. Like I've got a PV, which is a wonderful neck, and I have an Epiphone, and it's also got a wonderful neck. But the PV's got the better neck. I need to be playing the PV. So if I want to use those 2 instruments, I need to be playing on them now regularly, both of them. And so right now I'm talking about the exact same, more or less, instrument. Not 17 copies of a Epiphone, but I got these two different guitars. So what you need to do is you need to divide your time. Now, again, you have to make decisions yourself about how important it is. But a good way to do it is one day you do your exercises and scales and things on one guitar, and that same day you do your songs on the other guitar, and the next day you switch. And so that way you're playing them both, and that'll be awkward for anywhere from a month to 2 months. But after a couple of months, your body will kind of go, oh, okay, this is the one that's got the narrower neck. This is the one that's got the harder strings. This is the one with the higher action. It'll start figuring out stuff. And if it doesn't, you can sit down and take, after you've done this for a month and nothing's coming clear, you can say, okay, I'm going to take 10 minutes to figure out what's the difference in these instruments, So, for example, when I'm playing the mandolin, I have to imagine, it's really interesting because I have to imagine I'm way down the neck because the frets are so close together. It's kind of interesting because it's like, it's almost a conundrum because it's like, wow, these these are really close together. But on the other hand, because of the tuning, I have to reach, instead of 3 or 4 frets, no, I have to reach 7 and 8 frets, even though they're little tiny baby frets. So anyway, so the idea is that you would play each instrument regularly, and I would call that every day. You don't have to do it every day, but you may want to measure. You should measure your success and comfort. Remember, we're all about assimilation. That you've got this assimilated. It's easy for you to do. It's not awkward or strange. So I'm just saying, if you want that fluency with each instrument, you're going to have to play each instrument. Now, what about when you have a lot bigger change? Let's say, we'll stay with the voice right now. Only because most people really do not, including good vocalists, they do not treat the voice as an instrument. They do not sit down and do exercises. They do not sit down and try to build their voice. They just kind of sing songs, and because they're singing some songs and going for it, it gets somewhat better. Anywhere, again, if they're an organic, it gets a lot better. If they're just a normal person, it gets better. Oh, I'm gonna hit the button. Ow, that really hurts. Oh. So I'm going to leave the voice out just because the person who would need to work regularly on the voice is the person who wants to see those regular, noticeable changes on the voice. And I'm certainly one of those people, but most people are not. So I'm going to leave the voice out for that reason. And seriously, you should email me if you're interested in being serious growth on the voice. So anyway, on all these other instruments, let's say the saxophone and I'll just say the saxophone and the guitar, and I'll just say the piano. And so you notice right there that those are very dissimilar instruments. They do not overlap. They overlap in that they use notes. Let's say, I think I said the saxophone. So one of those is in a different key. I'm going to say it's a tenor. So when it plays a C, what comes out is a B flat. So if I'm playing something in the key of C on the guitar, on the piano, if it's the tenor saxophone, then I got to put it in the key of D. It's not that big a deal though. But the way all those notes are made are very different. And so what you have to decide, again, back to that assimilation, how much can I absorb these instruments? Do I just want to be able to play a little tinky-dinky solo, and this is not bad on the saxophone, and let's say I want to have a solo on the sax, and I get, 2 months to work up this solo, 3 months, it's not like I'm expected to just, night after night after night after night, just be incredible. And again, you are an organic, you are a natural player. Then without much practice, you probably can do that. But let's say 90% of all musicians, professional musicians, cannot do that. And what people do, for example, B.B. King didn't play any rhythm guitar. He didn't play chords. Couldn't play chords. He played lead. And what I'm getting you to see is that I'm thinking of, here's the world of music. Oh, there's this kind of music. And you naturally don't like this, so you don't do that. But in general, you kind of cut it back, but it's still pretty huge. And you would never think about some of your heroes saying something like, um, "Well, I don't play this kind of music, or I don't play this way. I don't want to play this way. I'm not going to learn how to play this way." And they do that. Not all of them. Some of them do, and some of them don't. So like chicken picking or something. Like or percussive rhythm, like a John Gone, which is really cool. But all I'm saying is that the thing that you do, unless you are an organic, you got to work on. And unless you are, and some of those guys are organics, and they have yet still cut down. Like, this is all I do, play like this, And so anyway, so if you had those three kinds of instruments, let's just look at it. The piano, the guitar, and the sax. You would have to decide what you want your goals to be, how often you plan on playing those instruments, and what do you expect to come out. And are you going to practice 6 hours a day? Well, you probably can do it. But if you're going to practice 1 hour a day, think about what I said. Most of you are going like, 1 hour? Oh no, never. But divide that by 3. That's 20 minutes. That sucks. So if it was 1 hour a day, you have to make decisions like, well, maybe I could just. I'm giving you examples of what I've done. I'm just going to play my scales on this instrument, and I'm going to play scales on this instrument and a song, and on this instrument, I'm going to play. More scales and more song, or spend more time in the song. And maybe another thing I could do, which I could rotate, so it's Monday, I only play scales on the sax, and I play some scales and a song on the guitar, and I play songs and scales on the piano. And now it's Tuesday, then I'm going to play scales and a song on the sax, and on the guitar, I'm just going to play the scales, and like that. You're kind of working it through a system. And then what you have to do is reassess regularly to see, is that working for me? Now let's look at the whole thing again, and what it was. What about switching between my instruments? How do I need to do that? How often do I need to do that? If you're going to be skilled at it, you have to do it probably every day, but you just define it like, how skilled do I want to be? And that will affect things like your practice, but especially like practice time, but especially things like your how you're structuring your practice. You need to get to those things. It could be as comfortable as two different, pretty much exactly the same instruments, two different mandolins, pretty much the same thing to you. And you just want to be good at both of them. You love them both. One sounds a little richer, one is a little easier to play. You like that kind of thing. That's great. No problem with that. Versus something that's like, wow, these are really different. Like ain't no party like a Scranton party. No, there ain't no. I don't play any other instruments that are like the harmonica. Harmonica's just sitting there by itself, whereas the flute, sax, and oboe and clarinet, they're varying degrees of similar to one another. And as you can imagine, the guitar and the bass and the ukulele are very similar. And I'm just saying, if you want to branch out, I'm just mentioning, if you wanted to branch out, you could branch out that way, grabbing another instrument that wouldn't be that big a deal. And when I was in the 90s, I can't think of an icon from the 90s. In the 90s, I realized, hey, playing the bass, it's just playing classical guitar it's just playing classical guitar with the rest stroke. That's all it is. That's all it is. So it's like, oh, cool, I can do that. So you can think about adding things. If you're interested in adding things, you can shoot me an email. We can talk about it. Things that are similar. But the ultimate goal or ultimate answer that you're looking for is how far, how skilled, how comfortable, how natural do I want to be on these instruments that I'm doubling. And again, if it's the same exact kind of instrument, it's not a big deal. Your body's going to adjust and fix that. It's a big difference. You're going to have to spend some brain power and possibly some practice time figuring that out. Okay, the last question. Let's just make sure that is the last question. Okay. All right, the last question is, what? This is somebody asked me this question, and I want to know what you guys think. What is the difference between a singer and a terrorist? What is the difference between a singer and a terrorist? want to type in an answer here? The difference between a singer and a terrorist. Okay. The difference between a singer and a terrorist is you can negotiate with a terrorist. You can negotiate with the terrorist, but not the singer. Okay. Well, that's it. So listen, I want you guys to have a Merry Christmas and an awesome New Year, which will kick in about a week. And God bless you, and God bless you and your family. And I want you to have a wonderful time, hopefully with family. And again, this is Mark Teaches Music. This is our To Play and Sing live Q&A. And I want you to, ask all your questions. For now, since this is over, send me an email at mark@dallasmusiclessons.com, and I'll answer your questions. And then if you're interested in lessons, go to www.dallasmusiclessons.com and look around there. And if still you have questions, just email me, like I said. And I want you to subscribe. I want you to sign up for notifications, subscribe, comment. Yeah, I love comments. And share this and get other people listening. And if you have any questions, I want to answer the questions. That's exciting. It's exciting to me, and especially even the ones, especially the ones where I have to puzzle and gotta go like, I don't know about that, So that's really cool. So I appreciate you guys, and as always, I want you to have fun, and I want you to be awesome. Have a great New Year.